right, let's do one more example with this dividing, where we're going to have to rationalize our denominator. Let's do 3 times the square root of 11x cubed y over 2 times the square root of 12x to the 4th y. Now in this case, I can do something that'll help make life a little bit easier. You're probably thinking, hey, I don't like that 3 over 2 in the front. We could split this up into 3 over 2 times everything else, and that might make things a little bit easier too. Times the square root of 11x cubed y over the square root of 12x to the 4th y. Now, if you look at example 4a, putting this into a gigantic cube root wasn't going to help us simplify anything. But in this problem, if I just look at what I have in the pink here, if I put this into a gigantic square root, I could simplify some things. So I'm just going to leave that 3 over 2 up front. I'll keep leaving that in the blue. Times the square root of 11x cubed y over 12x to the 4th y. Now this works pretty well because even though I can't do anything with that 11 over 12, so that 3 over 2 out front. Again, I can't do anything with the 11 over 12, but x cubed over x to the 4th leaves me an x on the bottom, and the y over y cancels out. So my problem, to make this hopefully a little easier looking, I'm going to come back down here. I really have 3 over 2 times the square root of 11 over the square root of 12x. Now the square root of 12, I could simplify, but I could simplify that later too. So I'm just going to kind of leave that for later. Since I have this radical underneath, I have to get rid of it. I have to rationalize my denominator. So I need to figure out what do I need to multiply by so that on the bottom, and I'm going to keep my 3 over 2 here, so that on the bottom I have the square root of 12 squared x squared, because I want each of these exponents to be a multiple of 2 since it's a square root. So I really need to multiply by the square root of 12. So I have a 12, I need 12 squared, I need one more 12. I have an x, I need x squared, I need another. So I'm multiplying by the square root of 12x here. And by doing so, I still have that 3 over 2 in the blue that I'm just kind of letting trail behind here. Multiply these two parts, the square root of 11 times the square root of 12x. 11 times 12 is 121x. Or, sorry, 132. 132. Okay. So when I simplify this whole thing, I get 3 over 2 times the square root of 132x over 12x. And we're almost done here. Almost. Okay. So on the bottom, I get 24x here. 2 times 12x. But then on the top, the square root of 132, I can either do the factor tree to simplify or try to find which of these perfect squares is the largest that goes into 132. And the largest is just 4. 132 is 4 times 33. The square root of 4 is 2 times the 3 that's already here is 6. Square root of 33x. Okay, now there's one very last thing I can do to help simplify. 6 over 24 is 1 over 4. So my final answer would be 1 square root of 33x over 4x. This is pretty messy. There's a lot of steps involved, and really this 3 over 2 just kind of trailed behind. If this would have been easier, you could have just kind of left that 3 over 2 out front and plugged it back in at the end if you didn't want to trail it the whole time. But there we go. That's our general process.